Republican representatives join us live with reaction to the week's news. Jim Jordan of Ohio and Chip Roy of Texas. Gentlemen, good to have both of you with us.
Good to be with you.
See you, Shan.
Okay, Congressman Jordan, I'll start with you.
Sure.
Carl Bernstein, in making that statement, I'm wondering if he is referring to what we're expecting from the Inspector General Horowitz or from the U.S. Attorney Durham. And he didn't seem to be saying it in a positive way, like, hey, we're going to actually get details and news about this deep state thing. It was sort of in quotes, deep state. Do you think that's where he's referring, where he's going to?
Well, I think you could make the argument that the Democrats try to get out in front of what Bill Barr and John Durham are going to have in their investigation. Remember what Bill Barr said the very first time he testified. He laid it out real clear. He said there was a failure of leadership at the upper echelon of the FBI. We certainly know that was the case when you think about Comey, McCabe, Baker, Strzok, Page. He said spying took place. He said there's a basis for his concern about the spying that happened. And then fourth, he used some key terms, scary terms. He used unauthorized surveillance and political surveillance. And he wants to get to the bottom of all that. So maybe this is that. I don't know. What I do find interesting is you got Democrats selling T-shirts. You got Hillary Clinton in your opening. Hillary Clinton lecturing us after what we know the Clinton Foundation engaged with for so many years, engaged in so many years. And then, of course, you got the Democrats saying because Rudy Giuliani talked to some Ukrainians, we're going to impeach the president. It's all kind of ridiculous when you really look at it.
Well, and in a couple of letters from leadership or top Democrats, including the Speaker and now the House Intel Chairman, who apparently, Adam Schiff, is going to be leading the impeachment investigation as we know it so far, in letters to their members who are going home for recess saying this. First, Chairman Schiff, the complaint lays out a credible and alarming set of allegations. The Speaker then saying, sadly, the facts revealed in the past week have warranted an impeachment inquiry. Congressman Roy, why would you disagree with that?
Well, Shannon, you know, when you and I first met, I was the first Assistant Attorney General of Texas, and that was after I'd served as an Assistant United States Attorney. And you know what I never did? I never went into a grand jury and presented hearsay as the basis for an indictment. And that's what we've got here. We've got a document containing nothing but hearsay, and we've got a Democratic conference which is being led around by the nose by the left-wing radicals of the conference with a disdain for the president that's coloring their judgment. They want to overturn the 2016 election. And that's what we're seeing happening. But you know what? When I talk to people in Texas, they want to see people talking about getting their health care prices down. They want to see the $100 million of debt an hour we're racking up dealt with. They want to see the 1,500 to 2,000 people coming across our border every day dealt with. They don't want to see more of the swamp circus that we're seeing the Democrats continue on a daily basis. And so I think that's what's going on before our eyes.
Shannon, if I could just add something.
Sure.
Chip and I sit on the Oversight Committee. That committee probably deals with more whistleblower complaints than any committee in Congress. So when a complaint comes in to judges' credibility, you look at two things. You look at first, did they have firsthand knowledge? This individual didn't. He tells us that. Second, you look at their motivation. Did they have some kind of bias? We know this guy did. The Inspector General told us this guy had an indicia of arguable political bias. That is Washington speak for this guy hated the president. So this guy has got problems on both fronts, and yet somehow we're supposed to believe everything he says. We got the transcript. We know the president did nothing wrong. That's what we have to focus on.
Okay, I want to ask you all about some reporting tonight as well. Sean Davis writing a piece over in the Federalist saying that it's essentially like the intake complaint form for somebody who was going to be a whistleblower within the intelligence community. It used to require that you had firsthand knowledge of the allegations you were making. At some point, that form was changed. Now, Sean Davis writes about this in the Federalist. In a tweet tonight, he was trying to get more information about when that may have happened. He tweets this: I talked to a DNI official and asked when these revisions were made and why. The official said the intelligence community would not comment on anything to do with the anti-Trump whistleblower. I never mentioned or asked about the anti-Trump whistleblower. Congressman Roy or Jordan, whoever wants to take this, I mean, that's raising some questions tonight about when it was altered, whether it's connected to this case at all, and why the change.
Well, look, I think this is an important question, right? And I think Sean has raised something that raises a red flag for me when you look at how the process is unfolding. And let's also look at the timing here in August, right? The Ukrainian government didn't know anything about the dollars that were being removed until a month after the phone call. The dollars were released to Ukraine before any of this investigation unfolded in the last few weeks. And then if you look at what Sean's saying here, saying, wait a second, suddenly the change here so that you don't have to have first-hand account in order to present this kind of a claim, that is raising serious questions about what's going on in the intelligence community.
Well, we
It's
know.
troubling. I was just going to say, Shannon, it is troubling, but it really shouldn't surprise us. I always go back to this, but I think this is important. January 3rd, 2017, Chuck Schumer says to then President-elect Trump, if you mess with the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. Maybe this is one of those ways. I don't know, but it sure seems kind of interesting that it happened in the way that it did. And now we have the whistleblower who had no firsthand knowledge and had a bias against the president. The Inspector General told us that.
Yeah, well, now we know that the Inspector General for the intelligence community is supposed to be on the Hill next Friday behind closed doors. And I'm sure both sides have a lot of questions, and we'll get more information about exactly what happened. In the meantime, Congressman, thank you for joining us. Have a good weekend.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Shannon.
Shannon.
You too.